Today is December 19th, 2025, and this is Read Through the Bible.
Hi, everyone.
I remember the story about this train that was going up a hill. Right? It says, I think I can, 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 right? Mm-hmm. And I think with you all listening through, like 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st, 2nd Kings, just keep going, I think I can, I think I can. I know. And then once we get in the book of Acts on December 30th, you'll be like, I knew I could, I knew I could, I knew I could.
Right.
Okay, so today we're going to read in 2 Kings 16 and 17, but 17 is a crucial chapter in the book of Kings and 2 Kings.
Yeah, in the history of Israel and Judah, this is very important because this is when the nation of Israel is done.
Yeah.
The northern kingdom is done.
Wiped away, taken over by the Assyrians, assimilated into their culture.
Yeah.
Yep, and we'll talk more about that when they come, because you have some good insights there about the Samaritans, which I think helps, which comes right out of here. Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. Let's just start. Okay, in 2 Kings, we just got more kings.
So
chapter 16.
16 and 17.
In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, the king of Judah, began to reign. Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem.
So don't get him confused with Ahab,
yes,
king of Israel in the north, who was the husband of Jezebel. He was the Baal worshiper. But this is Ahaz, king of Judah.
And he did not do what was right in the eyes of the Lord his God as his father David had done, but he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel. He even burned his son as an offering, according to the despicable practices of the nations whom the Lord drove out before the people of Israel. And he sacrificed and made offerings on the high places and on the hills and under every green tree.
Then Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, came up to wage war on Jerusalem, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not conquer him. At that time, Rezin, the king of Syria, recovered Eilat for Syria, and drove the men of Judah from Eilat, and the Edomites came to Eilat, where they dwell to this day. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria, saying...
We met him yesterday, Tiglath-Pileser,
Mm-hmm. Saying, I am your servant and your son. Come up and rescue me from the hand of the king of Syria and from the hand of the king of Israel who are attacking me. So he's turning to Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, for help.
Mm-hmm. And he gets help.
And Ahaz also took the silver and gold that was found in the house of the Lord and in the treasures of the king's house and sent a present to the king of Assyria. That happens so often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Syria in the north, and they form alliances to try to conquer one way or the other. Right?
Yeah. Verse 9, and the king of Assyria listened to him. The king of Assyria marched up against Damascus and took it, carrying its people captive to Kir, and he killed Rezin.
Yep. So just like today, Damascus is still the capital of north of Israel. When King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, he saw the altar that was at Damascus. And King Ahaz sent to Uriah the priest a model of the altar in its pattern, exact in its details. And Uriah the priest built the altar in accordance with all that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. So Uriah the priest made it before King Ahaz arrived from Damascus. So, this is how far their idolatrous practices have gone in.
So they saw this idolatrous altar in Damascus, or Ahaz did, and he wanted one just like it in Jerusalem.
Yeah. And when the king came from Damascus, the king viewed the altar. Then the king drew near to the altar and went up on it and burned his burnt offering and his grain offering and poured his drink offerings and threw the blood of his peace offerings on the altar. And the bronze altar was before the Lord. He removed from the front of the house and from the place between his altar and the house of the Lord and put it on the north side of his altar. So the altar you're supposed to be there, he moved out of the way and took precedence of this copy of the one from Damascus. And the king Ahaz commanded Uriah the priest, who should have stopped. He said, no, we're the priests, we worship the Lord, not this thing. It says, on the great altar, it's probably the altar of Damascus, burn the morning burnt offering and the evening great offering, and the king's burnt offering and his grain offering with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, and their grain offering and their drink offering, and throw it all and throw on it all the blood of the burnt offering and the blood of the sacrifice. But the bronze altar shall be for me to inquire by. Uriah the priest did all this as King Ahaz commanded. I just think also in 2 Timothy chapter 4, it speaks about in due time men will be ticklers of ears. That's what Uriah was, just following the whims of his king so that he could live, probably. Like if he resisted him, he'd probably die.
Verse 17, and King Ahaz cut off the frames of the stands and removed the basin from them. And he took down the sea from off the bronze oxen that were under it and put it on a stone pedestal. And the covered way for the Sabbath that had been built inside the house, and the outer entrance for the king, he caused to go around the house of the Lord because of the king of Assyria. Now, the rest of the acts of Ahaz that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Ahaz slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and Hezekiah, his son, reigned in his place.
Yeah, we'll read more about Hezekiah on Monday. So here, if we look at summarizing 2 Kings chapter 16, Ahaz asks Tiglath-Pileser for help against Rezin from Syria, and then this Damascus-like altar. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's the most unique thing for sure. This Damascus-like altar that King Ahaz sacrifices on. Okay, and so now we return completely to Israel, and we're going to see the demise of Israel. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, Hoshea, the son of Elah, began to reign in Samaria over Israel, and he reigned 9 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, yet not as the kings of Israel who were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria. So here's some time has taken place, and Tiglath-Pileser is replaced now by Shalmaneser, king of Assyria. And Hoshea became his vassal and paid him tribute. But the king of Assyria found treachery in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, and offered no tribute to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria invaded all the land and came to Samaria, and for 3 years he besieged it.
So it's 3 years of being surrounded by the Assyrian army,
starve them out.
Starving. Yep. Okay, verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Israel, the king of Assyria captured Samaria, and he carried the Israelites away to Assyria and placed them in Hala, and on the Habor, the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes.
Yep, just there's that little verse, but it's
he carried the Israelites away to Assyria.
Shalmaneser captured Samaria and carried the Israelites away. So there is the conquering, the fall of Israel. Just this one little verse, huge, just huge, because from this point on, like, Israel's really not going to have a history. They're going to be wiped out. Assyrians are going to come, move in.
Probably wipe out their genealogy records.
Yeah, everything is gone. Well, we got to finish the chapter to see why it is that they were exiled and what happens in response and how their hearts still are hard, and then maybe your comment about the Samaritans.
Okay.
And this occurred because, this is why Israel was captured by Shalmaneser. And this occurred because the people of Israel had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the customs of the nations whom the Lord drove out before the people of Israel, and in the customs that the kings of Israel had practiced. And the people of Israel did secretly against the Lord their God things that were not right. They hid them, trying to hide them from God, but God knows everything. His eyes are in every place, Proverbs 15, verse 3. They built for themselves high places in all their towns, from watchtower to fortified city. They set up for themselves pillars and asherim on every high hill and under every green tree. And there they made offerings on all the high places, as the nations did, whom the Lord carried away before them. And they did wicked things, provoking the Lord to anger, and they served idols, of which the Lord had said to them, You shall not do this. Yet the Lord warned Israel and Judah by every prophet and every seer, saying, Turn from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, in accordance with all the law that I commanded your fathers, and that I sent to you by my servants the prophets.
But they would not listen, but were stubborn as their fathers had been, who did not believe in the Lord their God. They despised his statutes and his covenant that he had made with their fathers, and the warnings that he gave them. They went after false idols and became false, and they followed the nations that were around them, concerning whom the Lord had commanded them that they should not do like them. And they abandoned all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made for themselves metal images of 2 calves. That's what Jeroboam did, Jeroboam the first. And they made an Asherah and worshipped all the host of heaven and served Baal. And they burned their sons and their daughters as offerings and used divination and omens and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. None was left but the tribe of Judah only.
Yeah, that's significant. Israel's wiped out, only Judah's left. Judah also did not keep the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the customs that Israel had introduced. And the Lord rejected all the descendants of Israel and afflicted them and gave them into the hands of their plunderers until he had cast them out of his sight.
When he had torn Israel from the house of David, they made Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, king.
This goes back to 2 Kings chapter 12. 1 Kings chapter 12.
Yes, right. And Jeroboam drove Israel from following the Lord and made them commit great sin. That was when he built the golden calves and told them not to worship in Jerusalem. The people of Israel walked in all the sins that Jeroboam did. They did not depart from them until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had spoken by all his servants the prophets. So Israel was exiled from their own land to Assyria until this day.
And the king of Assyria brought people from Babylon, Cutha, Ava, Hamath, and Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the people of Israel. And they took possession of Samaria and lived in its cities. And this is different than Judah. Like they actively tried to populate this place to Assyria. At the beginning of their dwelling there, they did not fear the Lord. Therefore, the Lord sent lions among them, which killed some of them. So the king of Assyria was told, the nations that you have carried away and placed in the cities of Samaria do not know the law of the God of the land. Therefore, he has sent lions among them, and behold, they are killing them because they do not know the law of the God of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, send there one of the priests whom you carried away from there, and let him go and dwell there, and teach them the law of the God of the land. So one of the priests whom they carried away from Samaria came and lived in Bethel and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Now, in some regards, he gets it right.
Well, it's amazing that they immediately see a spiritual reason for why the lions came.
Yeah, but they're so caught up in their own paradigm of like local gods. Like, oh, we got to serve the God of Israel rather than the God over all things.
Right. Verse 29, but every nation still made gods of its own and put them in the shrines of the high places that the Samaritans had made, every nation in the cities in which they lived. So they're like mixing religions. Verse 30, but the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, the men of Cuth made Nergal, the men of Hamath made Ashima, and the Avites made Nibhaz and Tartak, and the Sepharvites burned their children in the fire to Adramelech and to Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim.
And so the king of Assyria just sees Yahweh as one of these other gods. Like this country made this god, this country made this god, and so Israel makes Yahweh.
Yeah. Okay, so then verse 32, they also feared the Lord and appointed from among themselves all sorts of people as priests of the high places, not Levites, but just anyone, who sacrificed for them in the shrines of the high places. So they feared the Lord. I think it needs air quotes. They feared the Lord, but also served their own gods, after the manner of the nations from among whom they had been carried away.
To this day they do according to the former manner. They do not fear the Lord, and they do not follow the statutes or the rules or the law or the commandment that the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel. The Lord made a covenant with them and commanded them, you shall not fear other gods or bow yourselves to them or serve them or sacrifice to them. But you shall fear the Lord, who brought you out of the land of Egypt with great power and with an outstretched arm. You shall bow yourselves to him, and to him you shall sacrifice. And the statutes and the rules and the law and the commandment that he wrote for you, you shall always be careful to do. You shall not fear other gods. You shall not forget the covenant that I made with you. You shall not fear other gods. But you shall fear the Lord your God. He will deliver you out of the land of your enemies. However, they would not listen, but they did according to their former manner.
So these nations feared the Lord and also served their carved images. Their children did likewise, and their children's children, as their fathers did. So they do to this day.
And you had some thoughts about the Samaritans.
Yeah, so Samaria is the capital city, and the Samaritans are people who worshipped both the God of Israel, but also other gods. They were a mixture, a half-breed. So they had some Jewish practices and heritage, maybe, but
they were
mixed in with other cultures.
Assyrians came in and learned the ways of Yahweh, so
right.
they kind of were part in, part out.
But no
half in,
wonder
half
the
out.
Jews who were purists hated them.
Right. Okay, Israel's wiped out. So as a summary, that's the big thing. But also God sending lions, and then they were taught the law, which they rejected. Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.